And we're back. Welcome to the Weekly Roundup, the place where we unpack what's been going on in the yoga and wellness world and what we've been coaching our clients through. It's holiday mode.
Yes.
Uh, Big time for everybody. My clients and myself are still working very fucking hard, but it's definitely just like a different vibe, a lot of stuff that you're like, okay, that's a New Year project. Um, yeah, so lots going on. And we have a couple really fun topics today.
Per-
Terry, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. And perhaps potentially controversial, which is one of the things we really love.
Love that.
So it is the end of the year. And so this has happened to me. I don't know if the end of the year and this happened to me they're totally not, has nothing to do with the other. I don't know why I said that. So this has happened to me several times in my coaching career now, where me, recommend changes to a client, particularly a new client's website, to optimize their website for what we feel is the most important thing. I will say that for straight up here at the YC, one of our guiding principles about a website, it is there for one thing and really one thing only, is sales. It is a place where people go to buy your goal offer, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It could be intro, it could be direct to membership, it could be first class free, doesn't flip and matter what the intro offer is. It's like, what do you want people to buy first to get them in your studio, to get them into your funnel, to get them into your sales pipeline? And this is where we have some oftentimes friction between the web designers and us,
Mhm.
and oftentimes get lots of pushback and like, oh, we can't do that because of SEO. We've done this, we've done this, we've done this and done this. And I'm the first to admit, I know like about this much about SEO. I just know that you want to have it. It's important. However, if you have the best SEO in the world and people are coming to your website, but nobody's doing anything beyond that, then what's the point?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
if they land on your website, and the one we see a lot is book a class,
Mhm.
how dull is that? Because I came to your website for something, but book a class? It's like, okay, I book a class, but then what's the first thing that's offered to me? Guess
Drop.
what? A drop-in.
Mhm.
And that's not what we want them to buy. So
Right.
why would we encourage them to book a class? It's like, buy this thing. This thing is our whatever our goal offer is, and it needs to be compelling so that I go and I'm like, holy shit, I have got to do this.
Totally.
And if that's not what's happening on your website, I'm here to tell you, it's going to be a uphill battle for you, no matter how beautiful. And I've seen some gorgeous websites.
Hmm.
And
But they
one
don't
time
convert.
they don't convert. One time I knew what I was doing. I know what I'm doing when I'm looking on a website. I know, okay, I'm going to try to find. One time it took me 5 clicks to find what their offer was, particularly since they had two studios. So I had to go to Studio A or Studio B and then Studio A, and then I had to do this, this, and this, and this. If I were an actual consumer, I probably would have been out after I checked what studio I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it just makes me infuriated. Oh, and the other thing is oftentimes, and the other thing that the web designers I hear, and Carol, you'll love this one because Carol does our website service. We do have a done for you website service, a little plug there, which is very economical. I one time, what are we charging again now, Carol? I don't want to quote her on price here.
2,500 for
2,500 for a basic
8 page.
seven-page
Mhm.
website.
7, 8 pages, yeah,
Seven,
depending on
eight
your
page what?
software.
$2,500 in Squarespace. Very affordable, very reasonable, very much optimized to do what we feel is what's going to help convert your leads to members. And I had a client that was new client and they needed a new website. They had a teacher, was really pushing, oh, I know someone local, we should do say this local. Why would you go outsource it? She's a teacher here and she also works at this advertising agency local. $12,000 for a website.
That's intense.
That
That's
was
really.
intense. And then of course it wasn't optimized. And when I was started to push back on it, I got all kinds of reasons why they couldn't make the change from book a class to buy this thing.
Yeah.
So I just straight up, if your web designer is pushing back on things that are going to help in experience, and we're not just talking from out of the side of our mouths, we have a lot of quantitative data to support this, then I would say get a new web designer.
Yeah. Or like be able to say to your web designer, like, I'm paying you. This is my
So,
website.
yes.
So I appreciate your advice and I'm gonna try this other thing. Like you pay them. Like that makes you the boss, babe. You're
Yeah,
the
good
one.
point. Yeah.
I think websites are, I mean, I'm about to blow your guys' mind with this opinion, but I think websites are really important. And um, they I love what we say in our in some of our materials that and just in general on our team that your website is the lobby of your business really. Like this day and age. And I remember even back, in that moment in like early 2000s, late 2000s where there was sort of a divide where like half the businesses, and I would say it was very common in like yoga studios had like those websites that looked like they hadn't been updated from the since the 90s, and then there was this other half that had kind of modernized and was starting to do like other things. And I remember thinking even back then like you've gotta we've got to do better with these. Like this is how people find you now. Even when I did my YTT over 10 years ago, and like I said, it was still in this moment where websites weren't, the internet wasn't quite what it is today. And even back then, you know, I remember my teacher had just this shitty ass website. It just looked so bad. And I truly, you really do wonder when you come across a bad website, like, what's going on in that business? And you could have the best yoga studio in the entire world, and maybe just websites aren't your thing. Maybe like your aesthetic vibe isn't quite matching up with the your target audience. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something to get help with. And it's really important that you do get help with it. It's the first thing people know about your business. It starts to engender trust with your clients the minute they find it. It's just like, this is a legit business. We're getting a new website in 10 days. I'm so excited. It's so gorgeous. And I am going in and making my web designer. She has all of like our materials of like where we, like things laid out. And I'm still going in and I'm just making little changes. So get yourself a really good website and get an opinion from a couple different people because you might not be the best judge of what's a good website, and that's fine. We all need outside help. And then also a big one, and this comes up with clients sometimes too, be able to edit your website yourself. Do
Yourself.
not have to pay. Do not set yourself up. We've got someone in our orbit in the YC who has to pay like thousands of dollars a year for like edits to her website. Every time she wants a new page, hundreds and hundreds of the dollars, maybe thousands of dollars. That is not the situation you want. You want to be able to duplicate a page, make a new landing page that looks like your old landing page. And that's such a crucial thing for you. And if you don't have that right now, you need a whole new website. You need to start over.
Yeah, owning your, like I have a client where you're updating her website and she has a web guy. And it's tricky there because he's long term and quoted her a really, really realistic, very reasonable price, actually below I feel market rate because he's been with her so long. However, some of his thinking is very 20th century, right?
Mhm.
It's very much 20th century. However, I'm not the one to say get a new, it's like she wants, and I'm fine because loyalty does matter. But we're moving to Squarespace because she was on a platform that doesn't play nice with your software. And that's the other thing. It's got to integrate with your software. If you're having workarounds because your website's outdated or whatever, then it's time to upgrade. And we're moving to Squarespace because again, it's easy platform. And she's like, well, I'll have her web guy go ahead and set it up. I said, no, you're going to set it up and invite him so that you're the owner. She goes, oh, because same
Right.
thing right now, if she wants any changes, she has to go to him.
Yep.
Same thing. So we set it up that way. And I mean, I had WordPress and I learned enough about to be able to do easy things. But if I did need something more complex, then I would
Mhm.
tap in with my web guy. And he was great because he billed like a lawyer. He billed in increments of 15 minutes, which I thought was great because sometimes the change might only take him 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes, and he wouldn't bill me for a full hour. He'd just bill me for that time. Right. So that we had a really good relationship with that way. So yeah, so here's another thing you can do. And Carol, maybe you can talk about a little bit more about this is how can you use AI with your website?
Not where I
Carol,
was gonna
you
go, but because I have so many other things to say about it.
Right.
But thanks for that. Yeah, maybe
Or
we'll
any
get
of the other
to
things we talked about.
it. No, I just wanted to start out by saying like your web designer is not necessarily a class-based business owner. So they're looking at functionality, they're looking at the design and the aesthetics and yada yada. So like it is, there can be a disconnect there. And I think
Hmm.
that definitely happens. And that's why, I think we wanted to start to do a done for you service in the YC because we can take some design skills and put it together with our business knowledge and make a website that making sure that you can make edits on it is the key. That's what we want to just be able to hand it over to you. And Squarespace is so simple as far as like moving things around or changing a word here and there. It makes it really simple and straightforward. So I totally agree. Those are the big things there. I think what people also fail when they're looking at their website is it's like newspaper rules. Everything needs to be above the fold. So it needs to be compelling from the second the page comes up.
Carol,
Yes. Yes.
explain above the fold because I use that
I will.
expression and somebody had no idea because that's a very 20th century term.
I know.
Mhm.
Back from the 1900s when you read
Yes,
the newspaper.
yes.
So before you even open the paper, so you can't even see what's, below the fold because the paper is folded in half. It'd be like you'd have the headlines at the
Headline.
top, and that's what needs to be the most compelling. And it's the same for your website. Before you even scroll down, we need the most compelling content at the top. It needs to be like you need to know from the first 5 seconds, what is it? Why do I want it? And how do I get it? If you can answer those questions without even scrolling, then you're good. But what
Well,
the common mistakes I see is having a a picture of fresh flowers or a mountain in the distance. And I'm like, what are we selling? I don't even know because the picture is not telling me something. And our attention spans have gotten less and less and less. So if you're not telling me just with even a picture or the image, then you may have already lost me. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. Like just look at your images. Like are they what the person is going to get when they come into your business is the first thing. Um and sometimes I'll see people that are just laughing and having a good time. It's like, but okay, is this a fitness class? Is it a massage? Is it like these people look happy, but I don't know why they're happy. So even that in general, just make the cover image something that is truly about what are you selling
yeah.
image-wise. And then so that's what is it? Why do I want it? We need some headlines that are going to grip you from the very beginning. The other challenge I see a lot of times is it's words, all these words down the entire page. Too many words. Too many words.
Big.
People don't read. They need a headline that's gonna like, and you got to scroll to see all those words.
They're
No.
scrolling because keep in mind, this is what people are going to your website on.
Well, and that's another really good point. You can't just look at it on your laptop or, home computer. You need to look at it from from your phone or even a tablet or whatever, so that you see what people, because I've seen something that looks really nice on a laptop and then it looks really funky when you put it on the phone. So looking to see what kind of difference that makes is really
And
important.
that's just a quick pro tip as well. That's actually really good to do when you're doing your emails as well.
Oh yeah.
Is a lot of them will have view on a desktop and then view in a phone. And then when you do
Yeah.
that, you're like, oh my gosh, it looks
Hmm.
horrible. So
Yeah. So, well, and then the practical tip to have, like, what is it? What do I want it? How do I get it? You need to have your goal offer at the top, in the like top again before you even scroll down. Like I should see that everywhere and not be confused about how do I get started with you. Because I think that's like Terry was saying, the point of your website is, I mean, are your regular students coming to your website? Maybe if you, I
I
don't
just
think so. Like it's
page if they are.
mainly, yeah, it's mainly new people that are checking you out. So if you have that frame of reference or you have that as your starting point and you're looking at your website with those eyes, then it's easier to feel like, oh yeah, this isn't like I'm actually speaking to my regular students with what I'm saying here, and I'm not really gripping and getting. I see Terry is sharing something. Uh,
I wanted to show an
yes.
example. I mean, this is
Yep.
Bridget's website.
To be so much better.
Yeah, but see what
Even
this
so,
is an example of exactly what Carol's talking about.
Yeah.
like you see, yep, out of your mind into your body. That gets me in. You can see claiming my 3 week reset. Like that immediately I know how to get it from the top. New here. Click to get your 3 weeks for $55 at the very top. And it's also in the center. And then we do have to scroll a little bit to see this class.
Hold on. Share the new. This is so stressful. Let me
Do you have a link? Can you show us your new one?
have it up here. Let
Okay,
me.
I'll
Okay,
stop
yeah.
share and you share. We can see
Okay.
the difference. This will be great.
Um, Actually, as we were just talking, I literally just made an adjustment to the mobile view. Hold on.
This is called knowledge in real time. Knowledge in real time.
Okay, here we go.
And we also say the other little pro tip too, it is this is not, oh wow.
Okay, so now, and this is, correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, good places to have it are in the top right corner.
Hmm?
This is a little editing. This is not live or anything, so this needs a little editing in terms of copy. Like I would probably say something specifically about like 3 weeks at the top right here. And then this, but this one just I'm so my little headers are so much cleaner.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you go down and you see more stuff, and then you see more.
Yeah.
Now, if you clicked on the redeem offer, is that going to take you to the landing page?
Yeah, again, I'll change the text on that, but that'll go to my 3 week intro offer landing page.
My only suggestion was everybody says redeem offer, everybody says get started today. I'd try to punch those up a little bit more.
That's what I said. The copy needs to change
Okay,
on.
oh, the copy, yeah, yeah, but yeah,
And then this is where you could use AI, right?
yeah,
Like punch up my
Oh,
copy, I have this baseline and I know this is what I want it to convey. Help me with some compelling call to action
yeah,
button names.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um, and
definitely.
also to utilize AI too, a good place, excuse me, is go to AI, copy your website or link, put it into AI and ask it to do analyze it,
mhm.
right? And then see, make recommendations and say, this is what I want it to be doing. Does it do this? And then that you'll be amazed. And if you have any analytics, you can feed that into AI too, and that they can do some, they listen to Chatty. I call mine Chatty, for those who remember back in the 1900s, the Chatty Cathy doll. Um, I call mine Chatty. So that's another good resource tool that you can use to sort of help you don't know where to start is, just have AI audit your website and
Yeah.
give you feedback.
I would love, I feel like Josh would be so good at knowing this, like which AI is the best at this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I work a lot with ChatGPT on copy and marketing. It needs a lot of help. Like I often will send me back things you want to look out for if you do feel inspired after this to like change around some copy and some stuff on your website. Like use that stuff Carol was saying about like where to put your offer, and like how to, how to position yourself. A couple things I notice a lot on websites is one, the copy is all about, and when I say copy, just so everyone knows, I'm talking about like the words that are on your, every word that's on your website. The copy, the information, the messaging is often about the studio and the studio owner
not
talking
about the.
all about how special the studio is and how like and I am so coming from a place of humility with this because this was true of Honey Yoga's website for a long time. And like our about page was literally about us. And you might think, of course, your about page was all about you, but no, nobody gives a flying fuck, especially when they just start with you. Like, yes, I am actually someone who is curious about like who owns businesses that I go to 100%. And ultimately, and you can put stuff that you think is interesting, whatever, but ultimately you have to speak not about what makes you special, but what the client is going to experience. The client is the hero of your website, which might sound wrong to you. You might think, no, I'm the hero of my website, but no, the client is the hero of your website. Stop talking so much about yourself. Like, do not write me 3 paragraphs on my About Us page about like how you started and
Well, here's.
decided to open a studio. Go ahead, Tara.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but is yes, the hero's journey. If you're not familiar with it, you can research it. But basically, it's like the hero comes in with a problem, there's a challenge, they solve it, they have an aspirational identity. It's very comes from Greek mythology. There's a lot of research out there on the hero's journey. And the other thing is, we actually, one of the things we coach you with a website is that we do have templates. So and I do remember this statistic is that your about page is the least visited page typically on your website. However, when people get there, the people who get there, they tend to spend more time there. So it's like it's not the most visited page. However, when people get there, people tend to stay there and read through. So they are interested. Like I'm the same way. I always go to I want to know about the owner, but that could be because I've been a business owner, right? And so that whole entrepreneurial thing. Um, but we have like, how do you write even your bios? There we have a formula for how to write your bios. And it basically is, yes, a little bit why I started yoga. This is what it did for my life. And this is what I bring to my class. And this is what I'm so passionate about. I'm helping people find this. It's not about I attended a 500-hour YTT certified guy and I was in Bali and I did this thing. And that doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. And at the same time, I'm going to say it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me. I do not care if you did your 200-hour YTT in Bali. I just could not care less.
And what I
No.
care about is, are you a good teacher?
Yeah.
Right. And in the very early days of Bikram, there were some amazing Bikram teachers that never went through official Bikram training. They just had been practicing and worked with Bikram himself. And that actually, if you go way back in the history of yoga, that's the way it was supposed to. You went with your guru and you learned from your guru. And Josh has this great, it's like you become you're really an instructor of and then after a time and a period like 10, 12 years, now you're actually a master, a teacher of yoga, right? So it's that's is in the very beginning of yoga, there was YTT just became a Western conceptualization for monetization of a teacher training, a revenue stream, straight up.
Yeah,
Um,
tell me that you love giving hands-on adjustments. Tell me that I'm going to hear really sick beats in your class
right.
and like tell me about the experience I'm going to have.
In your class and what I bring to what's my special secret sauce.
The
I
other thing
mean,
I would say just about website copy is the other thing, and especially if you're like bringing AI into it, often, especially ChatGPT, will spit back out just like very rote, boring shit. Like, yoga for everybody, like shit that just like really what I am forcing myself to really think about, and like even that copy out of your mind into your body, I'm not even sure I'm keeping that. Like what I'm really forcing myself to ask myself with every bit of marketing, and especially on that front page of my website and any important sales pages, is like, is this saying something true and interesting and compelling to the like, does this make sense? Does this speak to an actual experience that someone has? Does this speak to something that people are actually concerned about? I think a lot of us think people worry about belonging and about inclusivity in yoga studios more than they actually in reality do. I think people want, and of course, I think when people get there and they feel that, that's really important. And like all of my community members talk about that all the time. But the people who arrive at your website, they probably have a problem that they want to solve.
Yeah.
And not like, and they're not as worried as as you think they are about inclusivity. Like it's a great bonus, but it's not the number one like that's it shouldn't be the headline, it should be the subtext. It should be things that you express through like great photos and videos if that's part of who you are. Some people don't give a fuck about that, and that's totally, about you and your brand. But yeah, I think that's the other thing. Just watch out for just like cliches, rote shit, like really dig into like why you like what they're going to experience.
Well, and again, this is where you can use AI because to your point, it's like, yeah, and I know you've done this. We have a lot of clients doing this now, feeding into chat or whatever one you're using your mission, vision, value, your messaging, being on brand, things like that. So you can feed all that in and say, okay, now I want to redo my website with this tone that, and so then you start getting more, less of that, banal stuff that they're just crawling, they're just crawling the internet for to pull out those key phrases. And then with regards to pictures too, yes, stock photos you might, but come on, people know it. I was on one website and every single picture you can tell this is absolutely a stock photo. Now, if you need to throw in it like Carol, you're making it, you probably have something to say about
Yes,
that. If
Well,
you
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead, no, go ahead,
I
because
was just gonna say I like started out with like a couple of new clients a while back, and I looked, checking out their websites, totally separate, had the same stock photos.
I'm clutching my pearls. It is scandalizing.
I know. I
well, sometimes
know.
you have to have like just a placeholder.
Yes.
But nowadays too, and I had this happen. Sometimes you remember, and I say this all the time, is done is better than perfect. Perfect is actually a form of procrastination.
100%. But you
So
should
if
be perfect.
nowadays, particularly with cell phones and stuff, you can take decent shots with your cell phone. Better to put up a not so perfect picture that's actually genuine on your website
Yeah.
than a stock photo. And then maybe I do believe it is worth the investment. And this is, we talked about this late last week or the week before, no, week before, because it was Thanksgiving. It's as a trade.
Yeah.
Remember, I mean, Carol traded all kinds of service, personal services, but like I, I traded with a photographer a photo shoot. It,
Listen, Terry, we know all about your
Oh
trades.
So I was
yes,
We
about
we
to
know.
say.
Let's not go back to that. I forgot about that. But yes, so you could trade for like if you have a professional photographer, you could do a photo shoot at
never
some point.
have a photographer in your community
Yeah,
that would trade with you about this. I don't think I've ever paid for one
yeah.
photo.
And or if you have, I noticed you have video on your. If you could also maybe have a professional video editor
The
in your.
video is all my manager,
Yeah,
a nice iPhone. It could be better, but
yeah.
again, done is better than.
One of our clients had, I don't know if they're still members, but it was a husband and wife, and they were videographers and professional video editors. So they traded yoga for that, and she's got some amazing. I mean, she has like professional quality, something you would see on, maybe not quite a Super Bowl commercial, but I mean, something that's very professional. It's professional quality.
Yeah.
And we have another client. She has sold her business, but her husband has won. I think it's 68 Emmys for visual editing, Lisa. And that's what so her website had amazing videography because he did it all. But if you don't have that, just your camera. I mean, I think authenticity rings through.
Also use cinematic mode on your camera.
That's this way, right?
No, it's a setting on your iPhone
Ah,
that makes it just look, you'll see if you use it, like it kind of blurs the background and focuses the foreground and it looks much
professional.
than just like if you were just like taking a video.
And another pro tip when you come to writing email, anything copy, website copy, we're not dissing people's intellectual intelligence, is write it about an 8 to 10-year-old reading level because again, people are scrolling. So you don't want to be using buzzwords, jargon words, ditch the Sanskrit, right? Unless you have like what it is, breath and whatever, and then avoid jargon terms, avoid acronyms that people may or may not know. We just assume, we remember we're coming from the curse of knowledge. So you want to make it so that, again, people are scrolling. So you wanted to make it so people can scroll fast and read fast and absorb fast. So if you have a lot of big, long words, it's not that people are stupid. Well, we could argue, but it's just, I don't know. Actually, I did, while we were chatting, I went into chat and I pulled this up. Here's an interesting stat, is that uh, some widely quoted numbers claim that the average human attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8.25 seconds in 2025. Other research focusing on task or screen usage indicates bigger declines. For instance, people's ability to stay focused on a screen reportedly dropped from about 2.5 minutes in the early 2000s to roughly 45 to 47 seconds by recent years.
I believe that. I'm that's what
It
my
said
attention feels
the
like a lot.
attention span equal 8-second narrative. So there
Yeah,
we have it.
yeah,
Interesting.
believe it. Carol, what
Um,
are we, is there anything else that we like just obvious website things that they could just, anyone watching could just be like, you know what? I'm going to go to my website right now. I'm going to whip this up.
that's a good one to
I
mention.
think we've hit a lot of the points. I think your call to action should be really clear and like you're saying,
Oh,
compelling.
the right
So
link.
and
Oh yeah,
having,
make sure that your links are right.
oh my
Yeah.
God, I mean that
No.
simple. Make sure all your links work and make sure you can click through the entire process because
Buy it.
sometimes
Buy
people
the
go to
thing.
the buy it and make sure that it's easy and it makes sense and like what happens after the sale.
Yeah.
If you're able to direct them back to the next step, like that is a really big piece of it because we want to keep them on your website and moving through the flow, um, and controlling that as best we can. Because sometimes we'll do like a purchase and like then there's nothing else, and it's like, what are they supposed to do next,
So
right?
where would you send them ideally?
Well, I
They buy.
typically do, they get directed to a specific thank you page that's like, okay, now you got to book your class. So like now we book. So because a lot of times, like you were saying, if the call to action in the initially is book a class, they're going to be try to book, then they're going to see all this list, a whole list of like options, probably with the drop-in being the top thing. And now they're booked, but they've done a drop-in, and you got to do the work on the other side of this to get them in your intro. If
Yeah.
this is set up the way we like to do it, they're directed to your intro page, sales page. They're so jazzed about it, they buy that first, and then we take them to the next page that says, "Thank you for your purchase. Now book your class." And so we've taken them to the next step in that way. So I hope that makes sense. Some of
Yeah.
the
No.
other things are like I know Squarespace is pretty easy to do this, but to improve your SEO from a very little thing you can do is when you put a new picture into on a page, name it.
Alt text.
It's not like just image 250 times 55, right? Name it like yoga class at Honey Yoga Studio, or this is yoga.
Going through our your Squarespace website right now, you can do it two places. You can change the file name, and
Mhm.
then underneath you can change what's called the image alt text. And
Alt
it
text. Yeah.
sounds fancy, but it's not, right, Carol? It's like
Mhm.
so literally anyone can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Call
Very
it
I
like
easy.
also,
Best San Diego. We've been doing a couple of those too.
right.
Honey
I
yoga,
also
full best yoga in San Diego.
Yeah.
I also remember from a webinar I was on website optimization years back is like make sure your footers are all congruent and that the way it's listed in the footer is the same way it's listed like in your Google. Ads. So it's if it's name, address, phone number, email, that's consistent throughout all the pages because that helps with like searching in Google and stuff like that. I do remember that one. And obviously making in your footer having all your social links and all that kind of stuff. Links out to your Google review, pay your, leave a Google, that kind of all that kind of stuff. But yeah, what are some other simple things, Carol? Those are really good ones that you can think of.
I mean, look at your headlines again, or just look at your homepage in general before you even scroll. Does the person, if I was new and I had no idea what you sold, from the images, from the headlines, and from your first call to action, do I know what is it? What are you selling? Why do I want it? So it has to be some kind of compelling headline and maybe a subheader that isn't too long or wordy. And then how do I get it? So
And
the
then other pro tip, make sure you do that
for the phone, yeah.
from your phone.
Mhm.
I would
Yep.
do absolutely 100% do that from your phone, not from your desktop.
Yeah.
I am also just thinking about like, yeah, just you're asking someone to, you're providing them with something, but you're asking someone to spend their money to drive down to your studio, like to like make it fucking easy for them. Like do not like this is your whole livelihood. The whole game is getting someone to buy this. Like make it easy. You will be there. I didn't go to two classes in Minneapolis when I was home. Uh because it was too fucking hard to book and I couldn't do it and I was so frustrated. One was truly I just ran out of time. I'm sitting there trying to book my class and then by the time I think it was like by the time I actually parked, I didn't have time. It was just so frustrating. So frustrating. And that's also a CRM thing, so you need to figure out like what's going on there, but I will say that both of these studios had a software that rhymes with schmind spotty. Uh,
We are not bash. We like to be software neutral, Miss Bridget. So
uh,
okay, so here's since we're okay, a couple of other things that I think are really important is one, and this is absolutely pet peeve. I haven't ran it on this in a long time. So um, please don't make whatever your goal offer is for locals only.
oh, I do that. What's wrong with that?
Because do they have to like present ID when they get to the studio?
No, but we just say like please only, like it's just
Okay,
for
I'm absolutely gonna fucking push back on you, Bridget Reagan. Why the fuck are you saying that? Because if you're not gonna check someone's ID, and here's the thing, is I actually had someone who wasn't a local, ended up buying my intro, found out he was coming back for a short-term stint at work, ended up buying, staying there for 6 months, spent over $2,000 in my studio in 6 months, and brought five other people in my studio bought my intro.
yeah, I don't think yeah, I mean I hear what you're saying. I don't think
It's like if someone is from out of town and buys your intro and they get $55 for 3 weeks,
mhm.
what do you care? What I would always say is, oh, no problem. You can take, just write us a good review. I don't know. That's my pet because there is a studio that everybody raves about in my community. Oh, have you been to this studio? I'm not going to call them out. And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, because their website pissed me off. I'm like, what?
It says locals only on their thing.
Locals only. And here's the thing, you had to present ID at the studio. So you couldn't buy it online. What you said, oh, if you're local, you can buy this, the drop in, and then we'll convert you to. And I'm like, and please make sure you bring your ID to class.
Yeah, I don't do that.
So that just really irritated me. So I'm like, if it's like, yeah, so there's that. That's just a pet peeve of mine. And then the other one is in your FAQ, like on your landing page, and so if you have FAQs on your landing page, you should, well, with your FAQs on your landing page for your whatever your goal offer is, have them all there as well. You can have FAQs in two spots because ideally on your landing page for your goal offer, you want to make it so they don't have everything's there they need to know. And
Yeah.
one of the things that oftentimes gets overlooked, and I've mentioned this to several times, like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea, is parking.
Yeah.
Right? If you have like, okay, where to park kind of thing, or if you have a big land, like I was always like, we're right across from the Chelmsford post office. Everybody knew where the post office was. Plenty of free parking right across the street from the Chelmsford post office. So everybody knew where the Chelmsford and where they could park, right? So if there's any parking considerations, if it's limited parking, like I have a client as a limit, we have a limited parking in our spot, but there's plenty of parking on this on these side streets and actually names the streets where they can park. If there's no parking in please make sure, please don't park in the Rite Aid parking lot because of a client that was happening.
Yeah.
If you're near, if a lot of the people either like one client of ours has bike racks. It's a bike friendly, like, hey, we've got bike racks you can use. In fact, they have a bike membership that they get if you can sign up for a bike membership, which means it comes with a mat and towel. If you're near, like if you're a metro area, we're on this bus line, or we're 2 blocks from this metro stop. All
Mhm.
of those things, yes, we do have Google Maps and everything, but all of those things just make it really easy for, oh, I know where they are. I don't have to, where are they kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So just all of those little things, just to make it so that, there's all the things they need to know. Now, granted, if they don't read it, they don't read it, but at least the information's there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's my rant on, I'm sorry, Bridget, I didn't mean to be so mean.
I feel fine if we have a different opinion on something. That does not, I don't, I'm very comfortable with that
Well,
completely.
there was another studio that said for locals only, but they didn't, and I went in, I was doing a draw, and I said, oh, do you want to see my ID? They said, oh, no, we don't need to see your ID. Then why do
Yeah.
you have it on the website?
I
That,
think for me, I'm just like honor system. Like, why I do think I think it's reasonable for me to be like, you know, I get it. Like, it would be great. Yeah, I don't know. The reason I can provide cheap yoga is because people sign up for memberships, you know?
right.
I I don't want out-of-towners coming in and ruining my conversions.
Do you have an
I
out-of-towner package separate of the
no, but we have a nice five.
Yogapreneur?
It's a
Okay.
great, good
Yeah.
option. Also, I know everybody thinks San Diego is like this huge tourist town, and it is in other places, but trust me, no one's coming to Talmadge to for their
Yeah,
family.
well, it depends. It's like anything. It depends on where you're located. San
Yeah, no
Diego,
one's coming to Talmadge for their family. Their city heights for their
yeah, yeah, they're
vacation.
they're going to La Jolla. They're going to places like that. They're not going to.
Honestly, I feel very like if someone took it off our little, it just says it on our intro offer thing, and
So it's a trigger for me.
it
It's
off, that wouldn't change my life in
yeah.
any way, but I don't feel like it's a bad foot for me personally.
Okay. It's just a trigger for. Can you tell it's a trigger for me?
I mean, I
Right.
support you
Oh
in
my
your
God. Talk about way, way, way back, all the way back, fall down backwards back, is the original owner of my studio when he opened the second location that I eventually bought. Our intro offer was, I forget, I think it was at that point, it was either 10 for 10 or 30 for 30, doesn't matter. But he was like, first time students only, new to Bikram only. So he was not even letting, if someone had done, and there were a lot in New England, there were a lot of Bikram studios at a time, right? At a time and place. And I taught it like most of them at one point. Um, so it was like, if you've done Bikram before, and I cannot tell you how many arguments would happen at the front desk because of that. And so finally, I just basically pleaded with him when I said, his name is Norman. I said, Norman, I said, this is creating such a bad vibe. It is, I mean, the teachers are in tears because of this. because people are, what do you mean? I've never, it's a brand new studio. I've never been, I said, we are alienating people.
That's wild.
And he finally was like, yeah, he was a bit, could be stubborn. And he was like, finally agreed. He's like, yeah, I can see why this would be a problem. I said, thank you. And after that, it was easy peasy. You
That's
know,
really
yeah, it was really annoying.
just so presumptuous to be like, oh, if you know if you like this studio, if you like Bikram. It's like, well, I don't know if I like your
Well, that was sort of Carol, wasn't that sort of the attitude back in the day?
When you were telling that story, I was like, a Bikram studio owner being stubborn?
Yeah.
No.
It's like he was like,
No,
you know
and
what the series is.
there was a lot of mindset set shifts that I had to have over the years because
Yeah.
it was like there was so much to get over. That mindset was really kind of fucked, really.
That particular, other mindsets were not, as we talked about last week. So, some of it is, some of it isn't. But anyway, but yes, so there was that. It's like, well, yes, Bridget, it was that way. If you know the series, you know the series. You just show up, pay, and go in and practice because you know how good it is for you. Forget about
interesting.
the smelly carpets. Forget about the wet carpets. It's just you go in, you focus, you concentrate, you meditate. You look at yourself for 90 minutes in the mirror, and you lock your fucking knee. And
That
I
was the
miss those. And
attitude.
I miss those days. I will straight up tell you, I miss those days. Yeah.
I believe
Anyway.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I think we covered a lot about the websites. We got a little bit. Carol, let's talk about the post you made because I really think this is very timely. It's beginning of the month before the Christmas sets in and the New Year. So Carol did an
Yeah.
awesome post coming out of the summit, some of the stuff we talked about at the summit.
Yeah, thanks. I just had that idea too. It's a good time right now if you haven't already, or if you've never set up a regular meeting schedule cadence. Like there are a few that we do recommend, and we talked about it at the summit. I just made a post about it, and the idea is that you would put them on your 2026 calendar now for the entire year, so there's no surprises. The team knows when these things are happening. You don't have to know exactly what you're going to talk about, but there will always be something. Something will be available to you. And so just the ones that we talked about at the summit were I think it's obvious, but maybe not, like a weekly leadership sprint meeting. So that sprint meeting, it goes quickly. It's sort of a fast pace, like sort of setting your week up. And this might be with you as the owner and your leadership team. If you don't have a leadership team, it's just with yourself to say, okay, what are we focusing on this week? And how am I going to tackle the priorities, basically? So that'd be weekly. Then we suggest, if you have a class-based business, like monthly or quarterly teachers meetings. And this again is to get the teachers aligned. Maybe there's a posture focus or um, maybe it's ongoing training that you want to give to your staff, et cetera. So those would be, I think quarterly is good. I know some studios are able to do monthly. I've found that has been difficult for some of my studio owners to do at this point.
I will
Do
say it can get a bit expensive to do it monthly. But the idea, I would think, and you guys tell me what you think, is the idea is these make your team better,
Mhm.
which would make your studio better, which would make more people come in, which would make you more money, which then you'd be like, hell yeah, let's up these meetings to a month, or like once a month. So, if you really can't afford it, at least start with quarterly. I think that's a really good, yeah, thing.
100%. I just want to share direct evidence of this. Is that definitely quarterly, an all team meeting quarterly, and then having the teacher meetings on a regular cadence, and then again monthly if you're not yet there. For sure, you should be meeting a minimum monthly if you have front desk team. You should be winning with them every month.
Yeah.
Right. And then eventually, if you could get to every month with your teachers. Now, keeping in mind, this is where you can utilize technology.
Hmm.
Zoom or
Oh,
Google Meets or whatever your preferred platform is. It doesn't have to be in person, although I think having all team meetings in person at least a couple of times a year is good, just so because people to get together, we are social creatures after all. But if you can do them via Zoom and then keep those meetings to like maybe an hour and have a main topic, whatever it is. And then the thing about that is then anybody who wasn't able to go to the meeting, you can send them the recording of the meeting.
yeah, big
In
time.
fact, we just did this at the last onsite Josh and I went to. Is here's a tip: if you even if you're having a meeting, a in-person meeting, pull up your whether it's your Fathom note taker, whatever note taker you have, launch it, and
Definitely.
just have it record that meeting, even if
Yeah.
you're meeting in person. In fact,
Yeah.
Carol, we should make sure we do that this weekend.
Yeah. Just
Um,
random meeting on Zoom too.
Yeah, you can just do a random meeting on Zoom and have it recorded because then you've got notes and all. You don't have to worry about, oh, what do we talk about, whatever. This is where, again, you can leverage those tech tools. So, and then always have one thing, and you guys probably gonna guess one of the one things that you absolutely should be sharing with your team on a regular basis is what?
KPIs.
KPIs,
Which
right?
ones are up to you?
Well, here's the
I mean,
recommendation. What do you mean up
yeah.
to you? I mean, you know, but tell
Well,
them.
I mean, some people don't
Yeah,
like sharing everything with everyone, right?
right,
And so
right.
leadership numbers might be different than
Very
your
good point.
staff number, you know,
Right.
so.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification, Carol. You're 100% right. So in terms of what should you share with your teachers versus and what should you share with your front desk? So with your teachers, I found the couple of them that I feel, and you guys can chime in if you feel differently, is the first visit return rate. I think because basically sharing the results, sharing the numbers that they directly have impact on. So they absolutely have impact on who buys, who comes back, how long they're retained after their first class. I would share the number of new members and the number of lost members because that can be a gut punch. Like I have a client that does that, and last month they were neutral. They had 55 new and 55 lost, so they had zero gain.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So that can be a real gut punch because guess what? Teachers have a direct tie to retention. The other one I would say is the conversion to whatever the goal offer is, because particularly if at the front desk, you're trying to upsell them from a drop into a buddy pass and they're not sure and they want to take the class to decide. They come out, they don't do it. They decide not to do it. That means that there was something in that class that made that person decide, nope, I don't want to do it. Right. So for whatever reason, so I would share that one with them. And then for the front desk, the same thing, the first visit return, because they do impact that just on how they greet people, their conversion rate, the conversion rate to membership, the next, like particularly if you're on a traditional intro offer where they have to sell them into the next thing, absolutely sharing with them with that. Like, hey, team, this week and I would do it for that. I would do that like on a weekly basis. And also setting, okay, I have a client that sets a minimum, like this is the minimum number of new members, new net members we need to have a month. And every week she shares, okay, team, okay, we've made it, or, hey, great. Last week we're down, we need to get two more to hit our goal this week. And then she pays bonuses if they're over the goal. So those are some things you can do. And that's where you can really share numbers. And those are numbers that I think should be shared. I mean, we're not talking about what the top line revenue is. We're not talking about what the net profit is. We're not talking about anything other than these are the metrics that you have direct impact upon. You
Yeah,
guys think of anything else?
I think you got it.
Yeah,
I think those are great ideas.
yeah.
Um, some of the other, I mean, just to kind of go back to the post is like a quarterly leadership
Mm.
reset. So this could be tacked on an extra 20, 30 minutes on your weekly meeting with leadership, but it's like getting clarity on what are we really focusing on as a whole this quarter. And, our sprint meetings weekly are getting us there, but then every quarter we say, well, did we do all the things that we were supposed to do this quarter? And what's in the works for next quarter? So getting that clarity is also.
So Carol, and Bridget, would you say then that let's say we didn't get the things done that we need to do we put anything new on our plate? Or we say, you know what, we can't do this till we finish this?
I think it really depends on what this and the that are, to be honest. I would not give up on, we set goals and timelines for a reason to try to hit those goals. If they don't happen in the time that we expect, we don't give up on the goal. We just move the timeline a little bit and say, okay, then maybe by the end of Q2, this will happen. This is our goal to get there. These are our steps to get there, rather the tasks and everything. What's holding us up? Maybe you've identified like what is it should be done because now this block is out of the way, and so we will accomplish this in Q2. And that's where, does that mean you don't start another goal? Depends on what it is, I'd say. Sometimes these things work in conjunction. Sometimes it is best to just focus on the one most important thing. So I can't say for sure to not start the next thing.
But that is why and the reason I asked that was because I 100% agree, is that's why you have these quarterly meetings, because sometimes we abandon things and jump into the next shiny object
Yeah.
because we're not seeing the results. So this is where having that check-in, it's like, yeah, and maybe it's like, the goal or the target is correct, but our strategy to get there, there's a problem with that. So we need to look at that strategy. So that's why having these check-in meetings with these targets and everything gives the opportunity to look and see, are we really making forward progress? And
Yeah.
sometimes the targets are correct. How we're gonna, it's just like the strategy might be like slightly off. And okay, all right, we've seen this, and as we work through, it's like, oh, and this often happens. This happened to me. It's like you start working on this one thing, you're like, oh my gosh, we discovered part of the reason this isn't happening, as you said, there's this block here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, pause for a second. Now we got to solve this thing.
Mhm.
This thing solved, now we can come back. But I think all too often what happens is we go off on these tangents, and I was guilty of this, and we would never get back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think it's such a good point. And it's actually the only thing I was going to suggest before we started talking about like what we might talk about today is along these lines of, well, A, what you guys are saying highlights how important good goal setting is, which you can go back to, I think last week's, or no, maybe 2 weeks ago,
That's true.
weekly roundup. Last week was just me, Carol, and Josh, and I think we talked about something else, something techie. You know, Carol, she's always wanting to talk about AI. So
Not her favorite topic.
Um, but this is so my focus right now in my own business is fucking stick to the fucking plan. Like it is horrible. Right now, I am working on my social media. It is demoralizing in every way to keep fucking posting and like still get like 12 likes, 20 likes on a post I like poured my absolute heart out into. But what I would do in the past is be like, well, this isn't working. Nobody likes my posts. I give up. I'm going back to whatever the fuck else I was doing or going to do this other new great idea. And this is very much part of a bigger strategy I have right now, or a bigger goal I have. This is a strategy towards a bigger goal I have, and it's really important. And if I'm still getting 12 likes and spending this much time and not seeing any results in my business 6 months, a year from now, fine. Then I can be like, okay, maybe this isn't the right strategy towards my goal, but we have to get over the ego shit, the boredom shit, the
Attention span.
literally gonna say the ADHD shit, which I'm allowed to say because I have it very extremely. And we just you have to stick to it. Like that is just very much my work right now in my own business is like just pushing through even if things take a longer time, and that's the only way.
Yeah.
The only way to
Mhm.
really know if something's working, I should say.
What else
Good
is on the list, Carol?
plan. But
Well, the biggest one I think is the yearly planning meeting. So that's what we do at the summit, and that's why we have the summit is to just like get very clear on like what Bridget is saying, like what are your main goals, targets? How do we get there? And then like stick with it. for this full quarter for this one thing. And so I think it's this is a regular, should be a regular occurrence in your business. We're really thinking ahead to what are the things we're trying to accomplish for the next year. And it takes a lot of effort. I mean, that's a big one. And so, I know Josh has said how it's like they would get a hotel room and like let mom, grandparents take care of the kids so that they could just really, really focus in on their strategic planning for the entire year. And so if you haven't done that already for 2026, maybe you can set
Like,
aside like, you know, a day, just like, I don't know, it really does take some effort. I just had a client go by herself. She's like, I just got an Airbnb. I'm away
Yeah.
from my kids. I'm
I
going
have
to
a friend
spend
who does
two whole
that.
days doing that. And, we worked through, on our call prior to that, I'm like, okay, here's the strategy I want you to use to get to your tasks for 2026. So we kind of did a lot of the planning on that call for her. Like, how is she going to tackle that
Yeah.
over the weekend?
And it really, you got to get out of your business and even out of your own home.
Yep.
Even if like, it's not the similar, not similar, but what at one point I was working on my master's and I was when my dad I was working on my master's and when my dad died and it just so happened that I had a paper due on the day of his funeral service, his actually his mass. And if I dropped out, I wouldn't have gotten the money back. I would have had to do the class again. And so I couldn't be at my mom's house. So I just went. This is an extreme example, but this is why this works. Is I called my uncle. I said, Uncle Larry, can I come? Because I knew he had a home office. And he said, sure, Michelle and I are going to be gone. I said, great. So I went, sat my ass down. To this day, I don't know how I wrote that paper. Actually, I got an A on it, so I was really proud about that. But
Yeah.
I just be carving out that space to just go and focus and do that. I was like, I have to get this paper done because partly what was motivating me, I'm sorry, was I knew my dad would be really disappointed if I didn't do it. Hashtag Terry's dad. The worst thing dad would ever say is, I am so disappointed in you. That's all I had to say. Anyway, so I got it done. So just leaving your house, if you're at a point where maybe renting something isn't your budget, ask a bestie, like call a friend and say, look, I just need a room. I can't be any distraction. Can I come hang out in your kitchen while you're at work one day? Type of thing. Because I know
Yeah.
what Josh and Jenna did, they had someone come over because they were like, they just seriously locked themselves in their bedroom because they
Totally.
weren't in the point where they could actually leave. Because I think Jenna was still nursing at that point. I don't know. I can't remember the details. But they had someone to take care of the kids. And then the person would just put food. They wouldn't even come out. They had, they were in their primary suite, everything, right? So if you don't think you have time, get creative. But get out of your home if you can and get out of your studio, definitely. And yeah,
Is that all the meetings, Carol?
Um, yeah, weekly desk, front desk for sure. Quarterly all team. I mean, I think sometimes that goes with your teachers. But if you can get quarterly with your all team, a lot of times that becomes like one of them is just team
fun.
building,
Yeah.
fun, maybe a couple of them because you're meeting with them regularly enough that you don't necessarily have to get deep into details on a meeting. But I still think, I mean, the issue or the problem you're also solving is like sometimes as a business owner, I wouldn't see certain teachers for weeks
Oh
at a
yeah.
time, you know?
We've been to on-sites where teachers haven't even met.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
that if you want to build a team, you need to come together. Or it'd be really helpful to come
Yeah.
together and get to know each other that
And
way.
sometimes too, and this is not ideal, but if it works for you, I have a client who has a very big team. And obviously a lot of them have typical 9 to 5 type jobs. So it's sometimes it's hard to find that time. So what she does is when she does these, she does two. She does one on a weekend and then does one in the evening, like after work.
Mhm.
And it's not ideal to split the team up, but she found since she started doing that, she has way greater attendance at her team meetings,
Yeah, I think some
so
team that just real like I have that right now. Like everybody's got a 9 to 5, and the people who don't have a 9 to 5 have kids, so you can't do it at like it's just even if you plan it so far in advance. I have two teachers who travel every other weekend. Like it's crazy, who are just always so we have found that Zoom always works the best and
yeah,
then have a couple during the year like social kind of happy
yeah,
hour things so
yeah,
everybody can meet works. But yeah, I think some you just got to make it work.
yeah. And by
So
putting it out now, they have no excuse not to show. They can make it true. I'm unless it's a one-off, it's like if you give them, particularly the later ones in the years, it's like, okay, don't book your trip during, I mean, if this is important to you kind of thing. I don't know. It's just,
Wedding, and then it's like, oh, they're not going to skip a wedding. There's literally always something. But yeah,
there's always something.
but the more, leeway you can give and like you'll have better success if you plan it now. So that's the idea. Like put it on the calendar now, let everyone know these are the expectations. And we do, you can put it out there, it's mandatory or like
yeah,
we really expect you to be at all these and you have to pay them. So
Yes.
keep that in mind. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, a lot of studios have like a meeting teacher rate that they just pay
Yes.
hourly for. And the other thing too is that you start this now and then look at in your employee expectation, teacher expect, it's like if it's not in there now, go and put it in there. That in
Mhm.
addition, that you're teaching blah, 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 we have these meetings 4 times a year, they are mandatory. If you put that in the expectations when you're hiring people, obviously, if you don't have it there, but you can for the future, you straight up say right from the get-go, so they know coming in that there are these meetings that are required, and of course you will be compensated. So that's another thing to do, just put it right into your agreement. And then obviously with the leadership team, that's just sort of a no-brainer. Well, if you can't meet, how to be able to meet if you're on the leadership team or the management team, whatever you choose to call it. So yeah, I like this. I think and again, going back to if it's just you, I can't stress this enough, carve that time out for yourself. Even the weekly one, people like, oh, I have a meeting with yes. And if you're on coaching, a lot of my clients will do it either right before a call or right after the call.
yeah,
Mhm.
Right. That's what I did with my coach. It's like, holy shit, I got to get my stuff done. Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
just have that time, carve it out, put it on your like Carol said, put it on your calendar and treat it. If someone says, oh, hey, Terry, can you go grab a coffee today, tomorrow at 10? Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a meeting scheduled.
Yeah.
Because, like we
That's the hard
said, if you're
part.
a teacher and you've agreed to teach a class, you're not going to skip class to go have coffee with Carol, although that could be an incentive. But, right, it's like you're not going to skip a class just because someone wants to have lunch or a coffee. Same thing with this meeting. Treat it like that,
Yeah, definitely.
right? And
Good.
it's just, and you don't
Yep.
have to, you just say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting,
Mhm.
right? So I think we covered it. What do you think? Is that a wrap, Bridget?
Yeah, I think it is. And that's a wrap on this week's weekly roundup. Tune in every Friday and make sure to subscribe to Studio Cult TV on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening from. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.